Hello and good evening, and welcome to this webinar on Agile Projects Management. Before we go into...
Hello, Dr. Akram.
Hello, Hayam, how are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, so we're going to start our webinar now. So before we discuss Agile itself, we are going to discuss a very important aspect of PM Book 7th edition, which is a system for value delivery, which is actually the most prominent distinctive differentiator between PM Book 7th edition and PM Book 6th edition. So value has many definitions, but for the context of Agile, it's best to think of value as a feature the customer is willing to pay for. Why it's important to consider this when we think of Agile? Because actually Agile is built around technology projects. When Agile was initially founded, it was founded for technology projects, and technology projects the value of technology projects is determined by features. So in order it's very important for us to keep in mind that value within the context of Agile is a feature the customer is willing to pay for. There are many other definitions which are very valid definitions of value. However, this is the best definition to help us understand Agile while we are discussing it. Agile project management while we are discussing it. Now that we are at it, it's very important also to comprehend and to grasp that everybody is a value engineer, and every smart or every thinking human being is a value engineer, a project manager, and a risk manager. So understanding project management, understanding value engineering, understanding risk management is not only a marketable skill for me to get a job, it's also a very, very, very fundamental and crucial life experience that, if mastered, will help improve my life tremendously. Okay, what are the products of a value delivery system? So a value delivery system is going to create deliverables. These deliverables are going to produce outcomes. Outcomes are the end result or consequence of a process or a project. So at the end of a project, the project deliverables should provide me with outcomes. Now, focusing on outcomes, choices, and decisions emphasizes the long-range performance of the project. So again, a very, very important distinction of PM Book's 7th edition from 6th edition is this emphasis on this emphasis on focusing on outcomes when managing a project. This came to attention when Prince2 methodology Prince2 methodology became public or more accessible to public, because one of the driving principles of Prince2 project management methodology is what is known as continuous project justification. So the project justification has to be always reviewed and monitored. So the 7th edition of the PM book included this important aspect of project management by stating it as part of the project delivery system. Then we have outcomes combined together will create benefits, which are gains realized by the organization, and benefits in turn create value, which is something of worth, importance, or usefulness. So here we have another definition of value, which is a very generic definition of value. When we say value, it is something of worth, importance, or usefulness. However, like we stated in the previous slide, within the context of Agile, it's best to keep in mind that value is a feature a customer is willing to pay for. Okay. It's important here to remember when we deliver value, we deliver value through a value delivery system, and a value delivery system is made up of portfolios, programs, and projects, of course. So within the context of a value delivery system, portfolio delivers value, which is related to vision and strategic goals. Programs will yield benefits which are conjugate to mission and also strategic goals. Projects will deliver outcomes or deliverables which are strategic objectives. For PMI, value is defined as benefits minus cost. So again, we have a new definition for value here, which is value equal benefits minus cost for achieving these benefits will give us the numerical amount of value. So the value delivery components, like we just mentioned, are portfolios, programs, projects, products, and operations that can be used individually and collectively to create value. Working together, these components comprise a system for delivering value that is aligned with the organization's strategy. So here we see an example of a system of value delivery, which has portfolio A, portfolio B, and program A and program A1 and A2 as part of portfolio A, and program A1 is made up of a number of related projects, and the same goes for A2. And for portfolio B, we have some individual projects which are not combined in a program. We also have a program made up of related projects, and we have an independent program that is not part of a portfolio, and we also have independent projects. And all these systems of delivery work in parallel with the organization's normal operations. And here we have the very same system, and we can see here that we have an environment internal to projects, and we also have a more global internal environment for the entire organization. And we can see here that operations extends, which means it is affected by the internal environment to a larger extent, or to the fuller extent, rather than only being confined to the internal environment concerned with programs, projects, and portfolios. And all this system of value delivery operates within an external environment, which is the industry, the country, or whatever is external to the organization. Examples of external environment are the economy, the industry, the competitive environment, legislative constraints, and thus forth. As for the internal environment, we have policies, we have procedures, we have culture, we have methodologies, we have frameworks, we have governance structures, and etc. Okay, so projects actually exist within a larger system, such as a governmental agency, an organization, within a contractual arrangement, so organizations and such arrangements will create value for stakeholders through creating. How does projects produce values to stakeholders? By creating examples. These are some examples of ways that projects produce value to stakeholders: by creating a new product or a service or a result that meets the needs of customers or end users, creating positive social or environmental contributions, improving efficiency, productivity, effectiveness, or responsiveness, enabling the changes needed to facilitate organizational transition to its desired future state, and sustaining benefits enabled by previous programs, projects, or business operations. So we have to keep in mind here that whenever a project is undertaken, what we mean by a project is undertaken, we mean that valuable resources are committed to a project, and these valuable resources are committed to a project for only the purpose of creating value. So within a value delivery system, information and feedback are key components. Which, if we take a look here, we're going to notice we have black arrows and we have gray arrows. Okay, black arrows are information from senior leadership to portfolios, and from portfolios to programs and projects, and then to operations. So what we mean by this figure, like I've just mentioned, projects are undertaken by committing valuable resources to these projects in order to achieve a certain value. A very important point to keep in mind here, projects are about change. So whenever we undertake a project, we have a certain state before the project, and we have another final state after the project. So within this context, for undertaking of projects, we have information coming out from senior leadership, which is our organizational strategy, which goes to portfolio managers, and portfolio managers are our directors. If we have certain directors within or C-suite members, so it goes from our executive senior leadership. Our strategy goes from senior leadership to portfolios, and portfolio manager will decompose the strategy into programs and projects within their portfolios. So programs and projects, like we mentioned, they have to deliver objectives and to support strategic goals. So this information, or these types of information, are communicated to program and project managers. And since there is interaction between programs, projects, and operations, and like we've mentioned, projects are about change, so probably operations might be affected by the outcome of projects and programs. So again, there is information transmitted from programs and projects to operations. Now operations will give feedback directly to senior leadership, and will also give feedback to program and projects, and program and projects will provide feedback to portfolio managers, and portfolio managers will provide feedback to senior leadership. So here again, we have to understand that projects are aligned with the strategic objectives of organizations. So what kind of information flows from senior leadership? Senior leadership will share strategic information with portfolios. Portfolios are going to share the desired outcomes, benefits, and value with programs and projects. Deliverables from programs and projects are passed on to operations, along with information on support and maintenance for the deliverables. What type of information flows or feedback, which is information flowing from operations direction. So information from operations to programs and projects suggests adjustments, fixes, and updates to deliverables. Programs and projects provide performance information and progress on achieving the desired outcomes, benefits, and value to portfolios. Portfolios provide evaluations on portfolio performance with senior leadership. Additionally, operations provide information on how well the organization's strategy is advancing. So Agile project management is one life cycle, one type of life cycle which are used to manage projects. We have four distinctive project management life cycles. We have predictive life cycles, we have iterative life cycles, we have incremental life cycles, and we have agile life cycles. And of course, in practical life, we always have a blend of the different life cycles applied together at the same time. So predictive life cycles are a more traditional approach with the bulk of planning occurring upfront, then executing in a single pass, which is a sequential process. Iterative life cycles, they are an approach that allows feedback for unfinished work to improve and modify that work. Incremental life cycles is an approach that provides finished deliverables that the customer may be able to use immediately. Agile life cycles, they are an approach that is both iterative and incremental to refine work items and deliver frequently. So we refer to the first type of life cycles methodologically in our project management teaching and training as predictive life cycle. For the sake of standardization. However, non-agile, non-adaptive approaches have different names, which is linear project management, waterfall project management, plan-driven project management, as well as serial project management. Why we mention these names? Because these names hold within their meaning some defining characteristics of predictive waterfall project management methodologies. Okay, so we have predictive approaches, we have iterative approaches, we have incremental approaches, and agile approaches. When we talk about requirements, we are talking about requirements as defined by customer. This is customer. Letter C. Customer. Customer. These are customer requirements. And what we mean by activities, we mean planning activities. Planning activities. And here when we say delivery, we mean value delivery, which in our case, value of projects. Yes, please.
Do you write something?
Yes, please.
But it doesn't appear here.
Yes, I am writing. It's not appearing?
Yes.
Okay. So how about now? Is it appearing now? I made just one line. Does it appear? It's not appearing, okay? Is it appearing or not appearing, my writing now? I'm making random lines. Random lines are appearing, right?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. Okay, let me just cancel those. Okay. So here we said customer. I'll just put a C because this is a very difficult way to write. And here we say planning activities. We'll just put 1P. And here delivery is value. And like we said, value in projects are project outcomes, which is V over O. So we know it's value, but it's outcomes. And goal, which means as a project management, as a project manager, what is my priority? So customer requirements for when do I use predictive methodology? When the customer requirements are fixed. When customer requirements are changing, it becomes very difficult to use predictive project management approaches. What is a differentiating characteristic of predictive project management? Planning activities are performed once for the entire project at the beginning of the project. And delivery of value is single delivery again at the end of the project. So a distinctive feature here, all planning is done at the beginning of the project and delivery of value is done at the end of the project. And the main objective of the project manager is to manage cost. Now, when we go to iterative project management, the customer requirements are dynamic, so they are changing. They are not static. And planning activities are not done only one time at the beginning of a project, but they are repeated until correct. And delivery of value is a single delivery. So how we refer to these by drawing, we have predictive is just one line of time and then we have at the end value. For iterative, we have one line, but we have iterative planning activities. We go back and redesign our product and replan our project management activities. Incremental, we draw it like this, small arrows of value. So small value, then another small value, then another small value. And when we come to Agile, we have many arrows, but all the arrows have got feedback, and Agile has got another feedback which goes like this. And these arrows are the symbol of Agile project management. So the symbol for Agile project management is one arrow like this, with one arrow going backwards like this, and another going like this. So this is how it's described in drawing. So in incremental project management, again, requirements are dynamic. Planning is done for each increment. Delivery is frequent delivery, and at the end of each increment, I have value delivered to the customer. And the goal here is speed. Speed. Okay, what about the goal of iterative solutions? It is correctness of solution. So I keep repeating, I keep iterating until I get the most correct solution. So if I have a project, the primary concern of the end result of the project is a correct solution, then I use iterative methodologies. And if I have a project which needs frequent delivery of value, then I use incremental project management methodologies. And if I want to have both correct solution and frequent delivery of value, I use Agile methodologies. So customer requirements in Agile are dynamic. Planning activities are repeated until correct for each iteration. Delivery of value is frequent small deliveries. And the goal of the project manager is to provide the customer with value via frequent delivery and receiving feedback from the customer to improve the product or the project outcome from iteration to iteration. Okay, here when we said predictive, for example, when we said predictive project management, we said all planning activities are done at the beginning and value is delivered in a single delivery at the end of the project. This is classical and extreme predictive project management, which we do not come across in real life. So in real life, we have a continuum, and the continuum is between predictive life cycle and agile life cycle. So actually, we don't have a 100% predictive life cycle. It's either iterative and a mix somewhere here. So when we said 100% predictive life cycle, we are on this part of our spectrum. And when we say we are 100% agile, we are at this part of our spectrum. But in reality, a predictive project will be maybe somewhere here. For example, looks like this. When it looks like this, it's mostly predictive, but it also has some iterative, it has some incremental, and it has some agile. So these are the reality of project. And the same way, you can have an agile project, which is not 100% pure agile. It has some elements of predictive in it. So in reality, the distinction between project management life cycles does not really exist. However, we have a predominant methodology. If I am predominantly managing the project in a predictive manner, I will be using some iterative aspects as well as incremental aspects, and maybe some agile aspects as well. So predictive life cycles take advantage of things that are known and proven. This reduces This reduced uncertainty and complexity allows teams to segment work into a sequence of predictable groupings. Iterative life cycles allow feedback on partially completed or unfinished work to improve and modify that work. Incremental life cycles provide finished deliverables that the customer may be able to use immediately. Agile life cycles leverage both the aspects of iterative and incremental characteristics. When teams use agile approaches, they iterate over the product to create finished deliverables. The team gains early feedback and provides customer visibility, confidence, and control of the product. Because the team can release earlier, the project may provide an earlier return on investment because the team delivers the highest value of work first. So here, this is a very important feature of Agile. We say the most important tool in Agile is what we refer to as a prioritized project backlog. Prioritized project backlog. I don't think I can type here, but prioritized from priority, prioritized project backlog. So what we mean by priority is I put items with highest value first. So I start working on highest value items first. So I deliver highest value work first. So this is a very important feature of Agile project management, which I can use in any life cycle. If I am managing a project using predictive life cycle, it's very good practice to produce a prioritized project backlog and work according to a prioritized project backlog and determine which items or which components of my project hold the highest value and finish those and deliver them first. Okay, some more characteristics of a predictive life cycle. So predictive life cycles expect to take advantage of high certainty around firm requirements. Like we mentioned, the customer is not going to change his definition of requirements. A stable team and low risk. Project activities often execute in a serial manner. These projects succeed when potential changes are restricted. Plans, team members, and requirements. So we don't like change. When we use predictive life cycles, we don't like change. We don't like change. Articulate the constraints. Now again, constraints are already defined in a very articulate manner. Serialized sequence of work do not typically deliver business value until the end of the project. And again, like we said, our main reference refers to technology projects. So technology projects start with analyze, which is analysis of customer requirements. And then we have the design, build, test, and deliver. So in a predictive life cycle, we gather all the customer requirements, then we analyze all the customer requirements, then we design all the features which deliver all the customer requirements, then we build all the features at the same time, then we test everything and deliver at once at the end of the project. Okay, so characteristics of an iterative life cycle follows a logic which stipulates that both us, the contractors or the project managers, and the customer are going to understand the real requirements once we have a prototype for the project. Therefore, iterative life cycles improve the product or result through successive prototypes or proofs of concept. Iterations help identify and reduce uncertainty in the project, and uncertainty means risk. So when we say uncertainty in project management, it means risk. So iterations will reduce the project risk. Projects benefit from iterative life cycles when complexity is high. When do we use iterative life cycles? When complexity is high, when the project incurs frequent changes, when the scope is subject to differing stakeholders' views of the desired final product. So how does an iterative life cycle look? It's got capture of customer requirements, then we analyze, then we design, but we produce a prototype, then we get feedback, we do analysis again, and we do design again, and we stay in this loop until we are satisfied or the customer is satisfied. Then we proceed to finish our build. And when we finish our build, we build and test and refine and deliver at the end of the project all the features based on all the requirements of the customer at once. Characteristics of incremental life cycles. Optimize work for delivering value to sponsors or customers more often than a single final product. Delivery of smaller deliverables. Speed of delivery. Customer receive a subset of the overall solution frequently. The degree of change and variation is less important than ensuring customers get value sooner than at the end of the project. So here, in a life cycle which is incremental, we choose or select a small part of the project, we analyze it, we design it, we build it, test it, and deliver it. And once the customer is satisfied with what we delivered, then we analyze, design, and build another feature. For example, if I am building a villa for a customer, for example, instead of completing the entire villa and facing problems with the customer, I first finish the pool house and deliver it to the customer. Then I do, for example, the main gates. Then I go to the ground floor, the first floor, and the second floor of the villa. So I do the design. Once the design is okay, I start to design and build and test and deliver the pool house, then the gates, and so forth. So in characteristics of agile life cycles, so agile life cycles are those that fulfill the principles of the Agile Manifesto. So we are going to discuss the Agile Manifesto in details later on. Customer satisfaction increases with early and continuous delivery of valuable products. So once again, here when we speak about valuable products, we are referring to the most important tool in Agile, which is a prioritized product backlog. An incremental deliverable that is functional and provides value is the primary measure of progress. So unless we give value to our customer, we cannot claim progress in Agile methodologies. So we don't have 90%, 80%, 85%. We don't have it. We either have 100% or 0%. So again, this is a very important distinctive feature of Agile methodologies. Adapt to high degrees of change and deliver project value more often. Incremental delivery uncovers hidden or misunderstood requirements. Iteration, we have two types. We have two major types of Agile, which one is referred to as iteration-based Agile. The other is referred to as flow-based Agile. In reality, for example, one famous Agile methodology is Scrum, and Scrum is normally considered an iteration-based Agile, Scrum, which is the most used Agile methodology, Scrum. However, Scrum itself is a combination of iteration-based Agile and flow-based Agile. So all Agile methodologies used today are a combination of both iteration-based Agile and flow-based Agile. However, for classification and for education, we have to understand that there are two types of Agile: iteration-based Agile and flow-based Agile. The iterative and incremental approaches of Agile provide feedback to better plan the next part of the project. Okay, so let's take a look at iteration-based Agile. The team works in iterations, time boxes of equal duration to deliver completed features. The team works on the most important feature, collaborating as a team to finish it. Then the team works on the next most important feature and finishes it. So here we have a prioritized project backlog. All the team will select one item and finish it, then move to the next item on the list, then move to the next item on the list. The team may decide to work on a few features at a time, but the team does not address all of the work for the iteration at once. So how does it look? We have requirements, we have analysis, we have design, we have build, we have test. And we keep repeating it for each iteration. And what we need to know here, why we call it iteration based, because all iterations are the same size. Same size is what we refer to as time boxing. Time boxing. Boxing. A time box is a fixed amount of time, 2 weeks maybe. So each one of these iterations is fixed for 2 weeks. So time boxing is the most important feature that defines iteration-based agile. So characteristics of flow-based agile, we have in flow-based agile, the team pulls features from the backlog based on its capacity to start work rather than on an iteration-based schedule. The team defines its workflow with columns on a task board and manages the work in progress for each column. Each feature may take a different amount of time to finish. Teams keep work in progress sizes small to better identify issues early and reduce rework should changes be required. Without iterations to define planning and review points, the team and business stakeholders determine the most appropriate schedule for planning, product review, and retrospectives. So in flow-based agile, time is different. So we, in iteration-based agile, we have a 2 weeks period. We have to finish the work we committed to finish in 2 weeks. So to start off with, we only accept for each iteration enough work that will keep us busy for 2 weeks, but we are able to actually finish it in 2 weeks. So what we mean by time box is at the end of my time box, I have to deliver a working product or a working part of the big product to the customer. In flow-based agile, it's a little bit different because I may select some feature which takes more than 2 weeks. So I don't have to break it down into smaller features, so I can actually finish it within 2 weeks. So here I have a big iteration, I have a small iteration, I have a very big iteration, I have a medium iteration, another medium iteration, and a big iteration. So the main difference between flow-based and agile is that in iteration-based agile, I have a fixed time box, which is, for example, 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, I have to provide value. Okay, so what are the agile foundations? Origins of agile. Actually, agile is the result of a meeting which took place in 2001 between 17 individuals at a place called Lodge at Snowbird Ski Resort in Utah. Dr. Jeff Sutherland and Dr. Ken Schwaber, Altisar, Cookburn, Dave Thomas, Kent Beck, etc., who are leaders in programming, software development, and architecture. Their purpose of the meeting was to find a simpler way of doing software development projects. As a result of this meeting, the Agile Manifesto was born. Okay. So what are the core principles of Agile? In Agile, we welcome change. We produce value in small increments. We use building and feedback loops. We apply learning through discovery. Agile is a value-driven development. It's very important to understand that failure is good. So our objective in Agile is to fail fast, recover early, and learn from our mistakes. We are committed to continuous delivery of value as well as continuous improvement of our products and our process. So now we have to understand that we have product, and we also have a process. And in Agile, process means our project management methodologies. And in Agile, for each iteration, we have to come up with improvement to our product and improvement to our process. So what is Agile actually? Is Agile an approach, a method, a practice, a technique, or a framework? So any or all of these terms could apply depending on the situation. Because Agile is a set of values and principles. So the answer to is Agile an approach, a method, a practice, a technique, or a framework? The answer is Agile is a mindset. Agile is a mindset. So we start with an Agile mindset. Like I mentioned, regardless if you are managing projects using waterfall or predictive methodologies, or using iterative or incremental methodologies, if you have an Agile mindset, it will benefit your project management performance very, very, very greatly. So Agile is a mindset. So Agile is a mindset defined by values, guided by principles, and manifested through many different practices. And Agile practitioners shall select which practices to use based on their needs. So here we have 4 principles and 4 values and 12 principles. These 4 values and 12 principles are the Agile Manifesto. So what are the 4 values of the Agile Manifestos? The Agile Manifesto states we are uncovering better ways of developing software by doing it and helping others do it. Like I said, those who came up with the Agile Manifesto were technology leaders. But it's very important to know that these practices were used in project management for decades and maybe centuries before the Agile Manifesto was created. But what the Agile Manifesto did when it was created is that it consolidated all these values and principles in a single document for ease of reference, and they also gave it a name. So here when we say software development, we are uncovering better ways of developing software we can replace it with project management. Why? Because like I said, we were using these principles and values in project management other than technology and software projects for many, many decades and many, many centuries. Through this work, we have come to value individuals and interactions over processes and tools, working products over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to change over following a plan. That is why there is value in the items on the right. They do have value. We value the items on the left more. So we are going to clarify these 4 principles more when we start to discuss the 12 principles. Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. Welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harness change for the customer's competitive advantage. So this one is very important. This is a very important mindset when you are managing a project. When we first learned about project management like 20 years ago, we had rules related to change management and management of change. And it changed according to our previous mindset was unwelcome. It was not a good thing to have change. But now in a very dynamic and ever evolving world, what good does it do when I finish my project in time while the end product of my project is no longer relative? The market has changed. So if I do not accept change even late in development, I will end up giving a useless product for my customer or client to try to market and sell. So it's not good mindset to start arguing with the customer or owner whenever they request a change. So it's a better mindset to understand that when managing a project, it's very important to welcome change from customers. However, I have to have enough understanding of Agile project management methodologies. I have to understand Agile contracting. Otherwise, it will be a total failure of the project, because every change will involve some penalty in money and time. So unless I understand how to give this change to the customer while we still can deliver our project without failing in time or failing in money, so it's again a very important understanding that I have to gain related to Agile contracting in order to be able to apply welcoming the changing requirements without jeopardizing my project. Third principle, deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the shorter. Business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. So business people are people who are going to sell and market a certain development project. So unless business people and developers are working together daily, the changes to the market might take place, which is not communicated to developers as soon as possible, which will end in wasted effort. People will continue working, and then after a while we tell them, no, we need to change. So if we have frequent or daily communication, we have what we refer to of saturation of information. So people who are actually performing the task, the developers, will have saturation of information. They will have enough information to make changes as early as possible. Build projects around motivated individuals. Give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. This has to do with creativity and innovation. The mindset for business 10-15 years ago was towards automation. So automation-based business had very, very little regard and maybe complete disregard to individuals. Disregard and disrespect to individuals. However, the new world has taught us that creativity and innovation are primary and that they are the decisive factor between success and failure. So according to the Agile Manifesto, we build projects around motivated individuals. How we motivate individuals? By giving them the environment and support they need, as well as trust them to get the job done. I just have to mention here team selection. In all types of project, team selection has to be based on skills. So you must have enough skills. So when you trust the skilled individuals to get the job done, they already possess the skill to get the job done. Team selection is very important to project success, regardless of the project management methodology deployed. The most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. Working software is the primary measure of progress. Like we said, in Agile, you either have 0% or 100% progress. So unless it is delivered and it is working, we have 0% progress. Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users the sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. Like we said, we have to have continuous delivery of value as a principle for Agile methodologies, as well as continuous improvement. to processes. So agile processes promote sustainable development. So the sponsors, the developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. So we must have a constant delivery of value indefinitely. Continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. Again, like I said, when you select your team, selection of team is based on skills. When you have a skilled team, you can achieve technical excellence, and technical excellence will enable you to do good design. And when you have good design and good technical excellence, then you will have good project management plan. And when you have a good project management plan, all you have to do is to work your plan and you will have a successful project. Simplicity is the art of maximizing the amount of work not done is essential. So we have to strive to end up with a simple product. What we mean by a simple product, we eliminate all the unnecessary features. Like we said early on in our webinar today, value is a feature a customer is willing to pay for. So any features the customer is not willing to pay for, which we think is nice to have or whatever, we should just remove it from our design. We only keep it simple by only keeping the features which add value, and the feature which add value according to the agile definition of value. Value is features a customer is a feature a customer is willing to pay for. The best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. Again, here, like I said, selecting the skill level of the team is very important for Agile. The second most important action performed by a project manager managing an Agile project is making sure the team develops into a team and does not remain a group of individuals in the same room or working in the same project. There is a huge difference between people working as a team and people who just work together. So it's very important for the project manager to select team members as well as promote teamhood. What we call teamhood is when the individual members of the team start to function and perform as a single unit or as a team. At regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behavior accordingly. Like we said, it's part of Agile is not only to have continuous delivery of value, but also to have continuous improvement. We have declaration of interdependence, and the declaration of interdependence is like we say, it's just like an inflection on the 12 on the four values of Agile. Like for example, increase return on investment by making continuous flow of value our focus. So if flow of value is not my focus, the return of investment will not happen. How return on investment happens through continuous flow of value. Early delivery of value will guarantee being first to market, and being first to market will give me a greater market share, so I can get better return on my investment. Also, the continuous flow of value will enable me to fail fast and recover early, meaning I will get feedback very quickly and start to improve my product and my process. Deliver reliable results by engaging customers in frequent iterations and shared ownership. Continuous iterations and continuous delivery of value to the customer will enable us to be certain that the end result of our project will satisfy the customer needs, because we made sure the customer is involved with us along the way, and we did not wait till the end of the project when we give the customer one single delivery of value and see if he's going to accept or reject it. So reliable result is dependent or interdependent with customer engagement. Return on investment is interdependent with continuous flow of value. Expect uncertainty and manage for it through iterations, anticipation, and adaptation. So we have to consider risk all the time and manage it all the time. Without expectations and management of risk, we are going to fail. We are going to fail in delivering a successful project. Unleash creativity and innovation by recognizing that individuals are the ultimate source of value and creating an environment where they can make a difference. So I have to recognize the importance of individuals as well as create a good environment in order to support creativity and innovation. Boost performance through group accountability for results and shared responsibility for team effectiveness. This we refer to as manage teams, not individuals. So it's very important, like we said, to select team members based on skills, to bring the team members quickly into what is known as teamhood. Also to manage the team as a single unit, meaning evaluation and reward is done for the entire team, not for individual members within the team. These are very important and crucial factors for success of agile project management process. Improve effectiveness and reliability through situationally specific strategies, processes, and practices. So here we said we need to improve effectiveness and reliability through a flexible style of leadership. So we need to have a flexible style of leadership in order to improve effectiveness and reliability of our team. The flexible style of leadership is referred to normally as situational leadership. So here it says situationally, so we need to use situational leadership. Like we said, Agile is a blanket term. We have Kanban methodology, Agile methodology, and we have Scrum, a major a major flavor of Agile is Scrum. But in general, all Agile methodologies are part of Lean. Kanban originally was a Lean approach for operation management. And Kanban was modified to manage projects. So when we modified Kanban is a Japanese word. It's part of what is known as Toyota Management System. I think Toyota Production System, TPS, Toyota Production System. So Kanban is one of the tools of the Toyota Production System. And the Toyota Production System is a lean production system. So Kanban from Toyota Production System was modified to manage projects, and it resulted in the initial development of Agile project management, and it took a life of its own and started to give us more and more distinctive other methodologies of Agile. So Agile is a lean methodology, and when we say lean, we mean eliminating waste. So Agile is essentially a methodology for eliminating all types of wastes within project management. Like we see here is a division of Agile methodologies used, and like we see here, by far Scrum is actually 14% here and 52% here. So if we add it, it's like 66%. 66% of Agile methodologies used is Scrum. So we are going to have a very, very quick and brief description of Scrum. In Scrum, we have 3 artifacts. We have 3 roles. And we have 4 events or 4 ceremonies. So our 3 Scrum roles are Scrum Team, Scrum Master, and Product Owner. Okay. At the very beginning of Scrum, we have we produce a release plan, and a release plan will have our project vision, and we have big portions of our project, or what we refer to as product breakdown structure in normal waterfall project management methodologies. We have epics. And then we have our work breakdown structure, or similar to our work breakdown structure, not exactly the same. We have our user stories. So we must start off with our release plan before we start our Scrum iteration. Once we are in a Scrum iteration, like we said, when we say Scrum, we are talking about an iteration-based project, Agile project management methodology. And when we say iteration-based, we mean it's time-boxed. So we have a release plan, and the release plan is made up of a product roadmap, and the product roadmap is defined, gives us our epics, and our release plan will divide our epics into our user stories. So once we have our user stories, we can start our iteration, our Scrum iteration. The product owner is responsible for creating the release plan, which has the product roadmap as well as the release plan. So the product roadmap and release plan are created or by the team together with the product owner. So the product owner is the responsible person for making sure the team has in hand a release plan and a product roadmap. And what we mean by a product roadmap, we mean a prioritized list of epics. And what we mean by a release plan, we mean we have a prioritized list of user stories. So when we say a roadmap, it's prioritized, and when we say it's a release plan, it's prioritized. And like we mentioned, we prioritize it by making sure the items which bears the highest value are completed first. So a release plan is done in iteration 0. So when I start an agile project management using iteration-based methodologies, I have iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4. So I manage my project through iterations. But before I start my project, I must have an iteration 0. And an iteration 0 is equivalent to a planning phase in normal project management. So like we discussed in Agile project management, that we do not have like extensive planning at the beginning of an Agile project in comparison to a waterfall project. It is true, compared to a waterfall project, we have very much less planning at the beginning of an Agile project. However, we do have lots of planning, which is referred to as iteration 0. So iteration 0, which could be considered a pre-project in its own self. So in iteration 0, we have to come up with our roadmap. Then we decompose our roadmap into our release plan. Once we have our release plan, we can start iteration 1. So we have 3 events or ceremonies in Agile. We have daily Scrum, which happens daily. We have sprint review meeting, which happens at the end of each review. And we have a sprint retrospective meeting. A sprint review meeting is where we discuss the product and try to improve it. So at the end of each sprint, the team will demonstrate the product of this sprint, and gather feedback on how to improve it. After we finish our sprint review meeting where we review and assess our product, we start a new meeting called sprint retrospective meeting. And in the sprint retrospective meeting, we discuss how we manage our sprint and how we can do continuous improvement to our management process. So it's very important when you are doing agile is to increment for improvement of your product as well as increment for improvement of your processes. We also have a fourth ceremony or meeting at the very beginning of each sprint, which we refer to as sprint planning meeting. In Agile, we call an iteration, which is a period, for example, 2 weeks, we call it a sprint. It's a distinctive name. In other Agile methodologies, it's called an iteration. In Scrum, in particular, it's called a sprint. Okay, now we come to our daily meeting, which is one of our 4 Agile Scrum ceremonies. It has to be at the same place. It has to happen at the same time. And it has to be maximum 15 minutes. So we have our daily meeting. We cannot have our daily meeting today in the meeting room, tomorrow in our technical office, for example. No, it has to be at the same place every day. And it has to start at the same time every day. So if it's at 8 o'clock, it's at 8 o'clock every day. If it's 10 o'clock, it's 10 o'clock every day. Personally, I prefer if our day starts at 8 o'clock, I prefer to have my daily stand-ups at 8 o'clock. Why I prefer it to be at 8 o'clock? Because I use it to make sure everybody comes in time. And it's a way to capture the attendance and absence of key team members. So having it at the beginning of the day will help me capture absenteeism as well as motivate people to come on time. Nobody comes late. And it's very important for success of projects is to have all your key people demonstrating good leadership, and part of good leadership is to be present at the beginning of the work day every day. So having our daily Scrum at the very beginning of the work day will support this good leadership. So like I mentioned, in our sprint review meeting, we discuss the what or the product of our project. And in our retrospective meeting, we discuss the how or our project management methodologies and our project management process. We also have 3 artifacts. And our 3 artifacts, we have here a prioritized product backlist, a prioritized product backlog, and we have a sprint backlog. What's the difference between a product backlog and a sprint backlog? A product backlog has all the stories of all the work that has to be done to finish the whole project. From this pool of work that I have to finish in order to finish the entire project, I will take some work to finish during this sprint. So the work I pull from the product backlog to finish this sprint, I will put it in prioritized order in a prioritized sprint backlog. And the third artifact is the increment or the product or the work done during a certain increment, which I am going to demonstrate and show to our stakeholders during the sprint review meeting. Within the 2 weeks of the iteration or sprint, I will do what is referred to as backlog grooming. It is a standard fact of project management is as we proceed in time performing work, we learn more and more, and risk becomes, and uncertainty becomes less and less. So as we progress in time, we have better idea of what needs to be done so we can correct ourselves. The same goes for each and every iteration. I should commit to the iteration objectives and finish it by the end of the iteration. However, I should not do this blindly. So I should continuously review what is in my sprint backlog to make sure it is still relevant to what we mentioned earlier, the continuous business justification of the end result of my product. So I must do, it is the same like sprint backlog or a sprint planning meeting. It's similar to a sprint planning meeting. However, it is a smaller version of a sprint planning meeting because we already have our backlog, we already have our finished work, we already have our feedback, and then we have a better idea of what needs to be done to improve our planning. So we also need to create what is referred to as impediments log. What are impediments? Impediments are things that prevent the team from performing at maximum velocity. So every day, each and every team member is going to state during the daily stand-up what are the things that make his life and work difficult. What we have to do is to capture it in an impediments log. Also, during a sprint retrospective, and a sprint retrospective is where we discuss the how we did right and what we did right and how we did wrong and what we did wrong. So again, it's another point where we capture impediments, and it is our tool to improve the team velocity is by removing impediments. So the primary job of a project manager in an agile setup is to continuously remove impediments to make sure the team are performing at peak velocity. So like I mentioned, the retrospective is done at the end of each increment, and that's where we collect our impediments data to enter into our impediments backlog. Without an impediments backlog, I cannot assure continuous improvement. And now we have come to the end of our presentation for today. And I shall be very glad to answer your questions should you have any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Akram.
Thank you for attendance and
Thank you, Doc.
okay. You have any questions, Mr. Joey?
Nothing, sir.
Okay. So I thank you very much for your patience and for your attendance. I wish you a very pleasant evening or night, depending on your time zone. And I bid you goodbye until we meet again next webinar. Thank you very much.